Hi everybody, it's Sarah Cray with Let's Make Art, and we do watercolor projects every single week. It's a lot of fun. We have fun anyway, me and Keenan.
Always.
Always, that's him you'll hear. This week we are painting our floral hand project. Oh, that was really beautiful.
Thank you.
I didn't even want to get in on that because I didn't want to ruin it. It was really good.
Thank you.
Okay, so we are using a round 6 and a round 2 for this project. These are our go-to brushes. They're our friends, and they're really wonderful. And they're Princeton Heritage Series. They're my favorite to use. You can find them on our website, letsmakeart.com. We have 5 colors for this project. So the very first color is lemon yellow. The second color is pine green. The third color is sea blue. These are great colors.
I know.
The fourth color is fuchsia, which is, orchid, I'm sorry. Do a little
Orchid.
orchid. It's mixing in with my yellow, but that's okay. And then our last color is yellow ochre. Yeah, that's such a good color.
I love that sea blue.
Yeah, sea blue, I know that this is Brock's favorite color, the pine green. Mm-hmm. This is my favorite color. That's your favorite color. This would probably be my husband's favorite color because he loves purple.
Yep.
Okay, we have 5 steps for this project. So the very first step, we are going to outline our hand. The second step is we are going to put in the larger florals and leaves. Third step is medium-sized florals and leaves. Then fourth step, small flowers and leaves. And then fifth step, blending. So just like duh.
I think you mean da.
Yeah, that's exactly what I mean. So let's get started. So you can do any silhouette you want. I just thought it would be fun to do my hand. I'm actually going to take off my rings so I don't get funky bumps.
If somebody could do their face, that would just be excellent.
Okay, I've done some silhouettes and then painted them using flowers.
Did you put your face down on the paper and trace it?
Yeah, like I did.
Yeah, is that?
I did this. No, I didn't do that. Okay, sorry. But you can do this with any shape. Now, when you do your hand, I just want to say that you're gonna do this because this is what you're used to doing when you're a little kid, is spread out your fingers super far. That's gonna look a little bit funny. So keep them, if you want to keep it a little bit more natural, they're gonna be closer together, and that's okay. And I'm actually gonna do this in the center of my paper, so I'm gonna get some of my wrist in there, but you can trim your paper down. I just have small hands, You know what I mean? So that's why it looks so tiny on this 9x12 sheet.
That's a 5x8 sheet.
That was funny, Keenan.
Thanks.
Okay, so there's my hand and my big old knuckles. Okay, so that's step 1. You're killing it.
Nailed it.
Nailed it. Now we're going to move on to step 2. We're going to do the larger flowers. So I like to, and whenever I'm usually doing flowers this way, where I'm creating the composition or filling in a space using flowers, I always like to start with larger things first and then work my way down and fill in the space. Sorry, I'm going to put my rings back on.
I was going to say, I didn't notice that you had 12 rings on one finger.
My entire finger is just rings.
It's just a piece of metal.
I have 4 rings.
Well,
but 2 of them
12.
are wedding, and the other 2 are for style, because fashion.
Oh. I have 1 ring. The 1 ring to rule them all.
Oh my gosh, I love Lord of the Rings so much. Okay. So when we do our large flowers, I'm going to do more of a rose, and I know that I've gone over those a few times, but it's great practice, and they're actually kind of difficult to do. So it's just good to keep practicing with them. So I'm going to start off, I kind of want this peachy color. So to get that kind of soft pink, I'm gonna grab a little bit of this lemon and a tiny bit of this orchid and mix that together. And just keep on adding it until you get like that really nice peach color. See, that's pretty. And then I'll show you, and if you wanna use your scrap paper to test colors, that's what that color looks like. Isn't that gorgeous?
Oh.
It's like a blush. Okay, so you can use your round 6 or your round 2 for this, whatever you feel comfortable doing. Also, if it's helpful for you to take a pencil, you could even use a watercolor pencil so the lines won't stay. You can kind of sketch out where things are gonna go. Like, there's nothing wrong with trying to pre-plan, that kind of thing. So if you wanna do that, you can. I'm just gonna go for it because that's how I like to do things, you know? So here's my flower. I'm gonna start on the bottom left hand of the palm. And when you do roses, they need to be tight and concentrated in the center. So usually you can start with like a dot. And then you start doing alternating circular lines that start going around. And then as you make your way out, hey, are you on the close-up for this?
I am.
Awesome.
I can't get super close. Actually, I can get really super close.
By me saying I can't get super close, I meant that I can. We good?
Yeah, this is what we're looking like.
Oh, let me see. Yes, here, I'm gonna move it up just a little bit.
I didn't want to move the whole thing again because it'll shake the camera.
Oh, okay. Is that a better?
Yeah, that's much better.
Okay. So as I'm going out, my lines are getting longer and thicker. And then when I get about halfway out, I'm gonna grab just water and do those same lines using just water. Like that. And then to give it kind of that watercolor feel, I'm gonna go in with a damp brush and just make those same strokes that I already made and just kind of smear around my lines just a little bit. But remember to keep white spaces in there too. You don't want to smear it all. And then if you want some strong pops of color, I'm gonna mix in a tiny bit of like a brighter pink, and you can just drop it right there in the center. And it can either blend out or you can do a few more strokes around it too. And this is where flowers are super fun, because if you wanted to drop in little drops of yellow or the orchid, you can. This is why I like flowers.
I love that yellow.
That pop of yellow right
Yep.
there? Yeah, that's fun. Okay, so that's my first rose. I'm gonna do a kind of more of a side rose right here, and I'm gonna go more for just straight this orchid, which is a little bit more like a purpley pink. It's gonna be the same idea, except I'm going to make one side longer than the other side, and then that will give the illusion that it's turning from us. So I'm gonna start with my center dot, and then I'm gonna start doing alternating lines. And then if I want it to look like we're not looking directly over it and it's turning, I'm gonna keep going on the bottom part and not do the other side. And then now it looks like it's angled. And then you just use water, spread it out. Just like that. Okay. Now let's do some green leaves. So I'm gonna mix my lemon and my, oh, and I have pine green too. You can use pine green. So here's the thing with greens, is the pine green is a cool green, like so, and so it looks like it has blue in it. That's how it's cool. If you want a warmer green, just take, you can even take some yellow ochre and mix it with the pine. And I want you to just show you, now it looks like a warmer green because it has yellow undertones, where the pine green is a cool green because it has blue undertones. And that's how you can tell the temperature of a color, is just, does it have a warm or cool feel to it? So I like using both. So whatever you want to use is totally great. Look, I lost my yellow. I put too much paint on my palette, but that's okay.
The prodigal yellow returns.
So I'm gonna mix a tiny bit of yellow in with my pine, because I personally like a warmer green. and I'm just gonna do some leaves. Now leaves are narrow at the bottom, thick in the middle, and then narrow at the top again. So, and then what I like to do also is sometimes I'll just drop in some color, or you can do a water drop too, and that is gonna get you some really cool textures. And then a little bit smaller ones, so they're just kind of peeking out. And if your first round is, if the first time you try doing a leaf it's not pointy enough, you can always go back in and make it a little bit more pointy. Okay. Now the other, we're gonna put 2 more big flowers in before we move on to step 2. So I have one, a side one coming off here, and then I have like a poppy looking one on my thumb. So for the side flower, I'm going to grab some more of that peachy color. You're gonna do like a swoop, kind of like it's the bottom of a lip. So, and we're painting this upside down. So if you want to turn your paper around, you're more than welcome to, but I'm just gonna keep it like that. So there's the bottom of the lip. See, doesn't that look like a bottom of a lip a little bit?
Yes, it does.
Okay, great. And then we're gonna see the petals coming out. So I'm gonna kind of, here's my petal, it's gonna shape out and bend. The one in the middle kind of just flares out at the top, and then this one bends the other way. So now it looks like this flower is also turning away from us.
That looks really cool.
Thanks. So you can use, and you can change up the flowers that you want to use, and you can use the kind of shape of whatever you're painting around to help choose the shape of the flower you want, right? Because for me, if I'm looking at my hand, it has like a roundness right here. And so like, it makes sense for me to put a flower, does that make sense? Like that curved line right there. But you can, there's so many different kinds of flowers and plants that you can decide what shapes you want to use and all of that good stuff. Okay, now I'm going to do kind of a poppy color. So I'm going to mix a little bit of the yellow with the orchid to get kind of this orange color. And then I can also use just some straight yellow. I'm going to use both. But I keep on diluting my yellow. I'm just gonna make 5 tiny piles of yellow so I can keep some strong color. Okay, and then if you think of, I'm from California, so we have golden poppies everywhere, and they're a little bit differently shaped than some other poppies that you might be familiar with, where they're kind of like, as they bloom, they kind of stay more tight and curved in with each other. So I'm going to do, it's going to be narrow here, and then here's the front petal. And then all the other petals like are kind of coming out like kind of like that. And they even like twist in the middle, but I'm not going to pay attention to that. I'm going to pick and choose what I want to do. That's the best part about art. Drop in some yellow for some strong color. And then I'm going to drop in a tiny extra hint of that orangey at the base. Okay. And to do my stem, I'm going to use my round 2 because it's a thinner brush. And I'm just going to go on my thumb line, my hand line right here. Like that. Just like that. And the leaves themselves, they kind of remind me of like really long, skinny hands. So Keenan's face was like, what? So
the leaves make you think of long, skinny hands.
Like Grinch hands. Doesn't that look like a Grinch hand to you? The Grinch?
The Grinch.
The Grinch who stole Christmas?
I couldn't hear the N in the Grinch. I was like, what is Grinch?
So I'm going to do like a line coming up here.
I mean, I love the Grinch, so I'll be the judge of this. Oh, yes, you're right. Nailed it.
Nailed it. And then you just do, oh, that one connected. You just do them kind of on the side like that. Now, as you can see here, some of my green is turning a little bit fuzzy on the edges, and that's just because this paint is super concentrated. So if you use a lot of the paint by itself without adding water to it, it will do that. One thing that you can do to kind of counteract that is you actually fill the space with water first, and then you drop in the color, and it won't get those fuzzy edges. The paint will only go where there's water. So, for example, if I want to do, let's say I just want to do another leaf right here, I'm going to just use water and then grab my green and just kind of drop it in and let it dry, and it won't have those fuzzy edges the same as this. Or I don't think it will. It doesn't for me, but we'll check it. Okay, so that was step 2. Now we're going to move on to step 3. We are going to do the medium-sized flowers and leaves. So coming out right here, I'm going to do this blue leaf area. So I'm going to use my sea blue for that. Now with watercolor, of course, if you want a lighter color, you just add more water. So you can decide how strong you want this blue to be. So I'm going to start with my top leaf here. I'm going to just have it, and this is where you guys are the artists. So you need to look at your painting and see how things will fit inside your painting. Because it's not going to look exactly like mine because we're freehanding it, right? So like just see like where do the directions of the leaves fit within the other flowers. What?
Freehanding.
We're freehanding on our hand.
On our own hands.
So I'm going to have my leaf come up there, kind of curve in, but you don't have to do that. Whatever. That looks kind of funny, but that's okay.
I like it.
It reminds me of a pea pod.
Oh, yeah. A crispy snap pea.
But sometimes leaves look like that, so I'm not mad, and I'm going to keep going. I'm going to do my stem. And then I'm going to just use I'm going to add a lot of water to it and then just start doing leaves around.
I was trying to find fun facts about hands.
Yeah?
And I was actually trying to figure out what the part of the pink flower is your hand. Does that make sense, that sentence?
Yeah.
Sure.
Yep. Any luck?
I mean, I saw something about Mars and Jupiter.
That can't be right.
And heart.
Nope.
And a bunch of other weird things that I don't know how accurate they are.
I know something about hands that someone posted on our group that was so fascinating to me.
What is it?
Okay, if you look at, let me try and do this flat so you can see, but if you spread out your hand,
okay,
this is a 90-degree angle. This is a 45-degree angle.
I can't do that.
You can't make a...
I mean, my hand is like twisted.
Okay, well, let me keep going with my thing.
My thumb's broken.
Let me keep going with my thing. So this and this is 90. If you go right here, this is 45. This is 60. And this is 15. Is that right? 15?
Goes
no.
from
20?
90, 45, 60, 15.
Gosh dang it.
I feel like those numbers are off somewhere.
Please take this
No.
out.
Nope.
I literally could have just looked and see what
I
it
mean,
said. Wait, let's do the math.
You started with 90.
So what's half?
Then you went to 45. So it's probably 90, 60, 45, 15.
That's what I said.
But you went 90, 45, 60, 15.
No, 90, 45, 60. Okay, 90, 60,
Okay.
45, 15.
Okay.
0.
Yes.
I just was like, 45 I know is in the middle between these two, so that's why I was trying to reach that first.
Wait, is it 90 with your index finger or 90 with your pinky?
Wait, this is 90.
Okay.
So 90.
Okay.
60, 45, 15, 0.
Okay.
I am so sorry you guys had to sit through that.
I might make it a separate segment. Hand learning with Sarah.
Sarah trying to do angles, even though somebody gave her a really easy
Someone
way
has
to
a
do
chart
it.
on the group.
And it's part of her body. Okay.
Oh, that's so great.
So I got some blue leaves in there. Now, of course, you guys, please don't be afraid of using extra color, getting an area wet and being like, you know what, I'm gonna drop in a little bit of extra right there. And just like letting that do its thing. That's how you're gonna get a little bit of visual interest in your painting, by having different values and textures. Your brain is gonna wanna tell you to do everything so smooth and even, and don't do that, you know, mix it up. Okay, so there's a medium-sized flower. We're gonna do kind of a medium-sized flower in here. It's right here. You might be like, Sarah, what kind of flower is this? I don't know. A pink one.
That kind.
A pink one that is folded up. I'm gonna just use this really pretty peachy color that I love. And I just kind of like followed the shape of my finger. So if this is the base of where my stem is coming.
Can you pull your paper down for the other angle?
Yes.
Thank you.
Is that better?
Yes. No.
No?
Needs to be lower.
Lower?
Sorry.
No, it's okay.
Perfect.
Okay.
Now I can see all the fingers.
Good. So when you do petals, usually the bottom where they come out is narrow, and then as they go up, they widen out. That's how you get that nice petal shape. And then if this is my base, here's another petal coming up around, and another one coming up the other way, and the back petal. And I know that if you were to look at it by itself, you'd be like, no way is that a flower. But the great thing about surrounding things with other things is that it still looks like it. Like, our brain likes to jump to conclusions, which is hard when you're trying to draw, but super beneficial when people are looking at your art, because they see flower, 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 leaves, and then your brain already told you that's a flower and it moves on. So use that to your advantage, you know what I'm saying?
These are not the flowers you're looking for.
Is that a Star Wars? Is it the droids? Is that what it is?
Yeah, these are not the droids you're looking for.
Yeah, you are killing it with your movie references today.
Thank you. It's not a big deal. I may not have had my mic on during that one, but it was still pretty good. We heard it, so we
heard it. That's all that matters. We really do this for us.
Yes. We didn't know people were watching.
We don't know that people are
We just put
watching.
this on Facebook and YouTube.
Okay, we're going to do our stem, so I'm just going to follow my finger line, connect it to the bottom there, and I'll do a little leaf coming out. I'm going to drop in some yellow ochre in there to warm it up. Ooh, that's like a nice sap green or olive green. Those are my favorite greens. And then I'm going to go a little bit outside and do like a back leaf over here. Okay? And then this finger here, gosh, I forgot what these flowers are called, but they're like cones almost, circular, that like go up smaller and they have dots in the middle of them. I can't remember what they're called, but that's what we're gonna paint.
Those ones are grapes.
Oh, you're thinking of grapes.
Yeah, they have seeds in them sometimes.
So for those, I'm just gonna do circles that get smaller as they go up. And then we'll finish them off, but I gotta start here and then get small, okay? And we're just gonna leave that, move on to another area. This one is just like leaves. So I'm mixing a little bit of pine green with my yellow ochre. If you wanna do a more blue green, feel free to, it's your painting. And I'm going to just start doing some leaves that are kind of more on top of each other and trying to fill in the finger outline. However, don't feel like that has to fill in the entire thing or go all the way to the edge. The important thing that I kind of want to show you with this project is that there's implied lines in art. So even though I'm filling in a silhouette of something and I'll blend it, I don't actually have to take a black marker or a paint and outline my entire hand for you to see that it's a hand. Does that make sense?
I was actually going to just ask that question.
Really?
Yes, because I was wondering, until I remembered that the last step is blending, I was wondering how you actually kept this shape for the original.
Yeah, so you fill it in, and I'll show you, but that's the beauty of it, is I don't have to do this hard line. If I just softly blend a little bit of colors, and it's the color or a soft wash that's creating our shape, then that is great, and we don't have to worry about like outlining it, essentially. Although there is a style where people do outline things in like black pens and do detail marks with black pens, which I think is gorgeous. And if that's your aesthetic, then go for it. Okay. Now let's move on to step 3. We're going to do small flowers. What?
That sound you just made was great.
Okay. So now this is the space where you're just start trying to fill in all of these extra areas. So I'm going to take a little bit of my yellow and make some, like, I just call them dot flowers. So I just kind of do circles. They don't need to be perfect circles. And then I like to take a little bit of water and like touch the water to some of them. So it kind of looks like sprays of flowers, like that. I'm going to do a small little leaf over here. And of course, please take creative freedom to do whatever you want.
Sarah, would you mind pushing your paper up a little?
Yep. Is
Thank
that
you.
better?
Yes.
Okay. So if you want to do more flowers, or if you want to do all leaves, maybe you don't like flowers, I don't judge, you know, like. What?
You don't judge the flowers?
No, I don't judge them for not liking flowers.
Oh.
Keenan, that was a funny joke I just made.
I'm really sorry. I was making sure the picture was great.
Okay, so just keep adding some in there. And I'm going to do some little berry. I always call them, they're like buds. So just little, kind of little buds coming out. And I love doing little dots and buds and stuff because it's a great way to fill in a space and introduce color without having to do a lot of work, you know?
I like that.
Me too. That's what I'm all about. That's why I'm so successful. Okay. Now I'm going to just do small, like a light blue leaf in here to fill up the other side of this finger. If you go outside your outline, that's okay. It's not a big deal. Can you still see, or do I need to move the...
I forgot that I was super zoomed in, so now it's great.
Do some little berry flowers there. Okay, now before we go do this finger, we're going to come back to this one. So if my flower, the flower shape that we're trying to make here is like, so this is the opening, and then this is the actual flower here, and it's just lighter on the top. And it goes in. And then it's on like a green stalk. Does that make sense? So it's like a cone kind of thing.
It's hanging on there?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was trying to figure out where, yes, that makes sense.
So we just did the openings, and now we're just going to use water to spread out that purple color to do like the back part of it. So I'm using just water, and they're just going to come to like a point in the back. Like so. Okay. And then these flowers also have like little dots on them in the middle of the flower. So I'm just going to do, oh, that's still wet. That's okay. Just some little polka dots in there. Man, I wish I could remember what this flower is called. And now I'm gonna do the stem. So kind of coming out from this leaf. And if there's an opportunity to put a little stem in between here, you can do it. And then they kind of like bud off at the top. And let's give it a leaf. I don't know if this is what their leaves look like, but that's why it's fun to paint. You get to make it up. There we go. Yeah. All right, now we're gonna do some like, they kind of remind me of bluebells or, I'm sorry, I'm letting everybody down right now.
I would say purple bell, but just because of the color.
I just, oh, Keenan, I'll be better. You guys, I'll be better, I promise. But they're little bell-shaped flowers. That's what we're making. So you just do kind of a arch and then point it out like that. And then they're gonna get a little bit smaller as they go down. Oh, that one was the same size. That one was bigger. Smaller, let's do smaller.
Classic flower misdirection.
You're gonna wanna do it smaller. Never mind. I just painted that large. Okay, and then I'm just using water to like change up the colors, but you don't have to, or you can do it opposite. Maybe your bigger ones are lighter. And now I'm gonna do my stem coming up this side of my finger, and then it's gonna curve down to hit that one. The next stem kind of comes out and then curves on top. Curves, curves, curves. And let's do a little leaf. Okay, and then I'm going to do another leaf on the other side. Are we on step 4? Yeah, we're on step 4.
Nice.
You guys, we're almost done with this. Okay. Now before we start blending, I'm going to just do a little yellow center right here on this flower. If you want to do little dots poking up, you can. All right, so here is our shape. Now we can tell fairly well what this is even without blending, but I love blending, like smearing things up in watercolor, because it just makes things feel full without having to go in and like paint a whole other thing. So I'm going to take a clean brush, and then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go along the edge and just softly smear some of this color. And by softly, I mean my brush is not super wet, it's just damp. You can hit it on your paper towel if you need to like get rid of some excess water. And you're just gonna start kind of filling in the white spaces a little bit. Now don't do the entire thing, we still want to have that hint of white just to give us that variation in value. And with this technique, I don't have to go in and outline my hand just by smearing the color around and kind of filling in the edges and like these big white spaces. Just by moving this color around, it's gonna make that shape for me. Because if I were to take like a black or do a strong outline, it would actually flatten my image. Now, if yours isn't blending very well, you can always grab a little bit of color on your paintbrush as you're blending. Just be aware of what color is on your paintbrush. Okay, this was the leaf that I put water down first and then dropped the paint in, and I have a nice hard edge. This was the one where I did it simultaneously and I dropped a lot of color and I still have kind of a fuzzy edge. So if you want to avoid that, you can do water first and then put the color down.
I like that fuzzy edge.
I think it creates some really fun textures, but I think it just depends. Maybe sometimes it would be frustrating or sometimes it would be really cool. I think it has room for both. And then I'm going to just kind of blend this out a little bit.
A galaxy hand would be really cool.
Yeah, totally. Okay. Something you can do is when you're blending out, like this is a great example. I blended out so much that I lost the shape of my original leaves. And there is nothing wrong with that. That's totally normal. What I do is I just wait for it to dry, give it a few minutes to dry, and then I'll go back in and repaint those shapes. So I have my hard lines. Now this is still pretty damp, so I'm not going to get a super strong edge, but just to illustrate what I'm showing. Like that.
Lovely.
And again, this project I think is so fun because one, I think it shows you how fun it can be to take the silhouette of an image and put something in there in its place that's not the actual thing. I think that's a really fun technique and the possibilities are endless. And also I think this is so fun is they're all gonna look so different and you're gonna be able to choose what yours looks like. You know what I mean? Like you can really mix this up and they're all gonna be so fun. And I'm actually gonna lift up. Oh, this is a great lesson. Okay. So I added my green when it was still wet and look how much that spread out and now it's really heavy. It's so heavy that it's only drawing my eye to this finger, which is distracting from a composition standpoint, because as an artist, you want to kind of have people stay in your painting and you want them to keep them interested and work their way around it. If they're only going to this one space, they're not going to notice anything else. Okay, so I'm going to lift up color here by getting the area wet. And then you can take your paper towel and just lift it up. You won't be able to get rid of all of it, but you'll be able to lighten it, and that's what I'm trying to do. Is just lighten it a little bit so it's not pulling my eye so much. There we go. That's much better. Does that seem much better to you?
It does.
Yeah. So, and then if you want, when it's totally dry, you can go back in and redefine some of the lines, but I'm going to leave that for now. I'm not going to touch that.
I just think that looks so cool because you can see where you put your first leaves.
Yeah.
Ugh.
It does look pretty cool.
Disgusting.
In the best way. Okay. That's it. Good job, you guys. I'm so excited to see how yours turn out and what flowers or plants, or maybe you don't even want to do flowers. Maybe you want to do like an ocean scene, you know, like make it whatever you want. It's your painting. But I want to see it, whatever you choose to do. So tag us in it on Instagram, Let's Go Make Art, or hashtag Let's Make Art. We have a wonderful Facebook community that is separate from our business page with the intention of only sharing our artwork. It has a lot of members, and a lot of them are beginners, a lot of them are intermediate, a lot of them are experienced, varying levels. All are so supportive of where you're at. So if you're not feeling comfortable sharing your art in that space, but you want to start doing it, Let's Make Art Watercolors is the name of our Facebook group. It's a wonderful community and it's a safe space for sharing art. So check that out. And you guys are really great. That's all I gotta say.